Welcome to the Political Insider. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, which is our short form news channel, please subscribe now, ring the bell so that you can get your daily alert. South Africa is officially defenseless. Now, we know that the world has become a lot scarier over the last couple of months with wars breaking out all over the show and a global fight for domination. South Africa remains a strategic country. Here at the bottom end of Africa, we know that any halt in traffic through the Suez Canal and places up north will mean an increase of shipping activity around southern Africa. And this is what makes South Africa strategically important. But in order to do that, people have to know that South Africa itself can protect itself. I want to give you some startling statistics that has come out about the South African Defence Force with specific emphasis on the South African Navy. Now, you will all remember, many of you should, if you haven't remembered this, please go and look. The original corruption in South Africa on an industrial scale started with our wonderful arms deal back in the late 90s, early 2000s. This is where Jacob Zuma started his career of grand corruption. He wasn't the only one. Tony Yengeni went to jail. There was a whole problem with the arms deal where back in those days we bought a whole lot of arms and ammunition, not the best, not the cheapest, but the people who were prepared to kick back to politicians the most. It created a scandal of its day. But it did leave us with some kit that we could at least use, even though we were under no threat and the world was a lot calmer back then. But listen to the state of our Navy at the moment. We currently have one frigate that is working. 3 are broken. We've got 2 mine warfare vessels. Neither of them are working. We've got 2 patrol vessels. Neither of them are working. We've got 2 combat support vessels. Neither of them are working. We bought 3 submarines. 1 is working, 1 is being repaired, and 1 has never worked. Okay, and all of the stuff is getting older. We've got a 20-year-old radar system, and in actual fact, our vessels, if they do go out, have no radar connectivity. So in other words, if they were caught in some problem at sea, there's no ways they could tell anybody. That's the state of our Navy. And the Navy patrolled the southern part of our country, the southern and the southeastern part of our country. And these are contested spaces, as we've seen with the war in the Middle East. This is when you start getting vulnerable from offshore. Okay, and we can't defend ourselves. We have got 4,000 naval personnel that have been trained to be on these ships that aren't working, that are just sitting, I presume, their barracks doing nothing because they have no ships to be on. The ANC's great idea was to move our failed Minister of Basic Education, Angie Motshekga, to run the Defence Force. Now, ordinarily, we could be quite okay with this because South Africa has been at peace. We faced no imminent threat. But our threat levels have gone up. As we know, the ANC has sidled up to some people that have been the aggressors in many of the wars. We have been antagonistic to the largest military power in the world, which makes us vulnerable. How do we defend ourselves? One would imagine at least you could, fix the stuff you've got and at least have some defense. Now, what are the potential threats to South Africa? Do we think that there's going to be a big invasion? Probably not. It'll probably get signaled well in advance. But hey, there's always that chance. It's more so now than before. But our bigger threats are to things like fishing rights. Okay, we know that the Chinese are great at fishing in waters where they're not allowed to fish. And that becomes a problem because, if you can't defend your own sovereignty, then what's the point of calling yourself a country? So it's not just that. Internally, systems are broken. So we've got the SANDF communicating using Gmail and Hotmail email accounts because their own secure emails aren't working. I mean, this is a joke. This is Banana Republic stuff. South Africa is still a significant country. We know that our president went to America to tell the US that we don't have a problem with the genocide of farmers. In actual fact, we're just letting anyone kill anyone. We've got a security problem. Security when it comes to police, and now we've got a security when it comes to the Defense Force. What is to be done about this? When will we get a government that is actually serious about running a sovereign country? A sovereign country is able to defend itself. A sovereign country is meant to apply its own laws. We can't stop crime. We can't stop any kind of, we've got a problem when it comes to gender-based violence. The police can't police that. And now we've got a dysfunctional defense force. Like, is this a country or is this a circus? Because it's starting to look like a lot like that circus, but in an ever more dangerous world. It's probably a bad, bad time to be so defenseless as we are in South Africa now. And this is not one area that a private security company can jump to the defense of the country. I think it's time that South Africa starts getting serious about governance and running itself. And please, let's start understanding that we are paying a very big price for letting a party run the country that prizes ideology over governance and over running the place. South Africa is in a crisis. We are defenseless. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. We'll see you again on The Political Insider.